A lot of people think that investing is about finding the next big thing, the next Nvidia, the next Amazon, the next Tesla. Actually, in my experience, a lot of the companies that the investment managers that I work with tend to prefer are the picks and shovels type businesses, the ones that provide the supplies and the materials for those types of trendier, sexier companies to flourish. Now, this isn't financial advice. This isn't me telling you what type of companies to invest in at all. But I've been asked a few times around what picks and shovels means and where it comes from and what types of businesses these are. Well, picks and shovels, historically, the term comes from the gold rush in the USA back in a number of centuries ago. Now, there were a lot of gold mining companies that went bankrupt. But the companies that made the picks, the shovels, the supplies, they made money regardless of who won the gold rush. Now, that principle has developed in time, and essentially any time there's been a rush in a new technology or an industrial revolution, for example, there's always been winners and losers as these larger companies try and reach to the top and try to create a monopoly and dominate their sectors. But there are companies that are behind that, fueling those rushes that consistently produce good results. So instead of betting on those companies that win or lose, you're invested in the companies that sell the picks and shovels, those companies that provide the crucial infrastructure for those companies to succeed or not. So we've gone back and explained where the picks and shovels reference comes from originally, but in today's world, an example might be a company like Amazon, one of the largest businesses in the world, in the S&P 500, and I know some investment managers who would prefer to hold stock in companies that, as an example, might be landlords that own the distribution centres that Amazon rent from, or potentially companies that make the machinery that do the picking in the Amazon warehouses. These companies feel like a safer bet and potentially inflation-proofed at times when the markets, which can dictate the share price of Amazon, nothing necessarily to do with what's happening at Amazon, can create a lot of volatility. Another example, and pretty topical, is around this AI bubble. Now, the big question on everyone's lips is there an AI bubble and when will it burst? Well, I don't have the answers to either of those questions, but if you took a company like Nvidia, which is, as we see it today, the largest company in the world, they would probably class as a picks and shovels business because they provide the chips for all of the AI companies that are trying to create this technology that they're trying to plug into various different sectors around the world. Now, every single industry seems to be adopting artificial intelligence, so there's going to be no shortage of customers, and a company like Nvidia, who are providing the chips for these AI companies to build these tools for the businesses, seems like a good bet. Another example might be in healthcare, where instead of companies that are actually creating the drugs, there are companies behind that create the testing equipment, that create the infrastructure, the research facilities. These, again, would be classed as picks and shovels businesses that, like I said, a lot of investment management companies that I've worked with might prefer to hold in their portfolios than that trendier name. Now, this isn't financial advice, but this is just an example of a different type of investment maybe you hadn't thought about. It's not always the obvious thing that might be the best, and that picks and shovels businesses, although quiet, can sometimes be the most effective.